Well, I have to say I am totally. Hi Barbara. Yeah, nice to see you guys. Hi John, Amanda, Samantha. I hope you guys doing well. Um, totally sorry on my part. It wasn't my fault, but it's just the stupidest thing ever. The test has been done there for days, you know what I mean? And it was ready to go there yesterday afternoon. And I set the parameters for 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. And I even had the my Blackboard guy, or Blackboard person there, Matt. You know, he works for George, and his only job is Blackboard. And everything looked good. And I'm just so sorry. I was sitting here teaching a class. I'm sitting in the same spot at 8 o'clock there this morning. I was teaching statistics, and it was kind of a brutal class, so we were there for a while, and I didn't even see the emails and all that. So the so sorry. The test it'll be open till midnight, wherever. I don't even care. You know what I mean? So I totally apologize. Matt, my Blackboard person there, I emailed him there about, I don't know, man, an hour and a half ago, and he got back to me, and I asked him, I said, what, how do I stop this? How do I get this test to open on time? He says, look, you know what, the only way to do it is to do it yourself. Don't preset it, because Blackboard is irritable. And I go, really, Blackboard is irritable, is it? So, all right, fine. So, enough on that. I hope the test um, is going well. I apologize profusely. I hate Blackboard. I really do. Really do. So, and that's, I guess I'm not the only one. But the test, 51 questions, not necessarily easy. And the problem is the hormones. And I stayed away from body and like specific stuff. We're gonna start hitting that stuff in the next couple weeks there. So try the test out. I don't think it's not an easy one. All right, and I just hope you guys are doing all right and keep trugging away. I received an email and you know if frustration is if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling a little bit of anxiety, let me tell you something. It's perfectly normal. There's two kinds of stress. There is acute and chronic. Chronic will kill you. All right? And you know what I mean? Chronic is this long-term stress. You know, like money can do it, or sorry, absence of money can do this. You know, that weighing feeling on somebody who's sick or, terminally ill. I've dealt with these, and it weighs on you. If you have any of these, things going on, it may be impossible to eliminate them. But if you could somehow get some help, let me know. You know what I mean? I'll help as much as I possibly can. Other than that, the other kind of stress is acute stress. Acute means short term, right? Chronic is long term. And acute stress is actually good for you. And what's that, Kelly Clarkson? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Don't ask me how I know that. Let's just finish this. And keep going, keep trugging along. You guys have been quiet. There's been a couple people that have emailed me and gotten in touch with me, but please email me if you're having any issues. My wife, I swear she thinks I'm a mind reader, but I'm really not. All right, and but please be upfront, talk to me, and if any issues are going on. All right. So I think you guys are doing all right. Let me know. Is there anything we've only got? I think we've got 9 of us here. Is there anything that I'm missing off the top?
I was just going through the week 6 review and all that, and just
Hey,
making
John.
sure I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
all that down. Making sure I got all the hormones and stuff down. Um, but yeah, I found this class fairly manageable in the sense that after I made a change where No, and I mean this with no disrespect.
No,
But you
no,
do
talk to
talk
me.
fast. You do talk fast in your lectures. So at first I was trying to take notes, but I'm a slow writer, so I found it hard to keep up.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've just been going through the recordings and stuff like that, and it's been much easier to take notes after the fact.
John, I love it. I love it, and thank you for sharing. You know what I mean?
People feel
Because
that stress to take notes during class. I know that.
sit back and enjoy if you get a chance. You know what I mean? I have no problem seeing the bottom of two Nikes in my screen. You know what I mean? If you got to relax, it's all good. You know, and if anyone else has any helpful hints, y'all are. No, no, Jennifer, you're good. You're good. We didn't. We're just yakking. And but any other helpful hints, like John just saying there, just relaxes during the lecture and then goes back and goes through the video, you know, and makes videos or makes notes and all these kinds of things. So awesome, makes me happy. And whatever works for you guys. What do we got here now? This is what. Sorry, I'm not screen sharing, but I will screen share right now. So this is what's in your Blackboard folder there this week. I know it's just ridiculous. There's just so much in there, but it's all good gravy. Like there are your PowerPoints. There's the heart and the heart function. You have your study guide, questions and answers. You have the answers there for the study guide. There's the clicker. That's a PowerPoint with just multiple choice questions. We've got all those from another textbook, but it's pretty relatable. And there's also a list of, I put in here as well, which we'll try and hit a couple there today. But these are all, please have a look at these. Like, we tried these out there last week, and the movies were working, and I hope that they still are working. I don't know if anyone watched the movies there during the week, but hopefully the movies are still working. And there's lots of stuff in here. Now, are we going to hit it all? Are you responsible for it? No, but it's all good. So, and yeah, you just click on these. Some of them are movies, some of them are not, and you guys can have a look at these on your own. And you see, okay. So, Ashley, let's just watch it.
The cardiac cycle is the sequence of.
Hello.
Anybody? It just had no audio for a second. Then turn it up. And
oh, okay, yeah. It was on. I think there was like a 10-second pause.
Contraction and relaxation of the heart chambers during a single heartbeat. The contraction of the heart chambers is called systole.
Diastole and systole. That's what we're going to get into. So before I get into this one here, I just want to make sure that these movies, and there's other things in here as well. There's like 3D features where they actually take real cadavers and, you know what I mean, remove tissue. It's really cool, actually. And so hopefully they work. And then, yeah, there's a whole whack of them here. So y'all can have a look and just, well, I can't do it in a 3-hour class, you know what I mean? But you guys can dig around and fish around. Knowledge is power, okay? So that's also in the folder. So if there's no emergencies, anything else, John, I don't want to harp on it, but I just want to say thank you for that. And if anybody else has any other tidbits of information to help everybody get through, because you guys are a family of some sorts. You know what I mean? We're a cohort, and you guys are all moving in together, and you guys will all be together next semester as well. So anything else you guys got, feel free. But so the test is open there today, and I'll leave that open till midnight. And again, I'm so sorry. It's but anyway, if there's any issues, let me know. Other than that, let's get on to probably the most fun. This is one of the biggest bananas of the course right here, Anatomy of the Heart. This one here is fun. If you ever get a chance, go to Zehrs, go to Loblaws, and go and buy a heart. You know, go and buy a nice, you can buy a porcine, which is pig heart. You can buy a cow's heart, you know, and dissect it. Feel it. You know, we do. I teach in the pre-health program there, and we do heart and kidney dissections. And I tell my, okay, as weird as it is, as gross as it is, I tell my students, look, get your finger right in the aorta, feel it, get in there, feel this, because you guys are going into the field of life saving. So you better know how a heart works. You better know how to, you know what I mean, and just feel it and touch it. And it's also good for the kids too. I've done that there with the kids, and my kids are 7 and 4. And okay, that's everyone does it there for their own. But yeah, I get my kids right in there, and we look at a heart and just feel it, you know. And so we're gonna do all this. We're gonna describe the location, name the 3 layers, explain. We're gonna do all this, and this PowerPoint here, I think it's probably about 40 some odd slides. Okay, and then we have, we'll take a 10-minute break or so, and then we'll do chapter 17 afterwards. But let's go. Heart size and location. Located there between the 2nd rib and the 5th intercostal space. I've got more slides coming, but the apex. Normally we think of this as the top, the point, the top of the pyramid, right? Well, because the heart kind of this is the apex, the bottom, all right? And because the point comes here. So this is your apex, okay? The base is up here, okay? We'll just move in here. Let's have a look. There are 3 types of tissue there that we want you guys to know, okay? And I'm going to zoom in. Now, one of the interesting things there I want, well, I'm not going to get into, but you see, this is a heart that's been kind of, has an anterior slice in it, okay? And how we're talking about the heart is you have to picture a heart in your chest. So the right side of the heart is going to be depicted as the right side on here, but really it's going to look like it's your left. What am I talking about? I'll explain it. Now, this is a heart.
Jennifer,
yeah.
Hi. Jennifer wants to know if you're recording it.
Oh, yeah, I am. Yeah, I am.
There you go.
So,
Sorry,
yeah.
Brett.
Okay, no, hey, that's an important question. No, not very good. And if you got a jet. Life doesn't stop. But this video will be recorded there by 2 o'clock or whatever, so you guys can see it anytime. This is your right side of the heart. So you have to, when you're looking at the heart, it's like you're looking at another person. Oh, here's their face. Oh, here's their shoulder. There's their other shoulder. There's their arms. This is what the heart looks like you're looking at it through somebody's chest. So this is the right side, and this is the left side. Okay, it's what we call anatomical position. You remember the positions there where you're seeing some person like this with their hands up like this, right? Sorry, I'm trying to, and that's what we call anatomical position. So, like when I talk about the right side of the heart, schematically on the diagram, you're going to look on the left side. Oh gosh, I hope that's not too bad, but there you go. If I'm talking about the left side of the heart, schematically on the diagram, you're going to look to the right side. But what you're going to see here is the heart muscle. The heart is a muscle, right? And it's a beast of a muscle. And you'll have a look here. You have the epicardium. It's a layer, okay? Right here. You have the myocardium. Look at the meat in there, eh? That's some good muscle right there, I tell you. And then you have the endocardium. This is the lining on the inside. You see the chamber here where the blood goes. Okay, so the blood is in contact there with the endocardium. The myocardium is the meat. That's the muscle. And just to let you know, look how thick the heart is on the left side as opposed to the right side. Interesting. We'll get there. And then the outside there we have the epicardium. Okay? So the layers of the heart include all these right here. You guys can have a look at that. Okay? You'll see on the outside here you have what's called the pericardium. Just kind of like a membranous sac there that the heart sits in. I don't know if you guys have heard of another word there for a heart attack. Okay, it's myocardial infarction. Myocardial infarction. Infarction. All right? Infarction means death. So myocardial infarction. Okay, that means that the myocardium is dying. All right, because the heart isn't getting enough oxygen. And we'll get in there and all that. We'll get there. This is a good slide, good PowerPoint. There is the pericardium. Okay, this is on the very outside. You have the epicardium, the parietal pericardium, and the fibrous pericardium. Okay, and yeah, that's good. So you've got these three, the endo, the myo, and the epi. Okay. We got the pericardium here, the parietal, and the fibrous. All right. I'm more concerned about these ones here. You guys can nail these ones. Rock and roll. Okay. One of my favorite slides. Why? Because there's a lot going on here, but it's very doable. Now, this makes it difficult. I like to be standing in front of and use my hands and all this kind of stuff here. The heart. There is two systems that the heart pumps blood to. Okay? There is the systemic system. Okay? Where the blood pumps, or the heart pumps the blood to your big toe, your arm, your ear, your nose, everywhere. But before the heart pumps the blood there to your body, the blood has to first go to the lungs. So let's just have a look here, and we're going to kind of work our way through this. Okay? So let's just say here's my heart, and we'll get into the heart. I'm not even really talking about the parts and all this kind of stuff. This big sucker coming off, this is the biggest one of them all. This one's called the aorta. Oh yeah, this thing is a pig on wheels, man, I tell you. It's crazy. And see, the aorta comes out, and red blood generally is oxygenated blood. Blue, okay, is carbamino, or what we say deoxygenated blood. Okay, so the blood leaves the aorta, and it's coming down, and it goes down. Now, the whole point of blood is to transport things, right? So oxygen or carbon dioxide or nutrients, vitamin, all these kinds of things, right? But I think, was it a week or two ago, or maybe it was last week there, we talked about the blood system being like the Mississippi, where the Mississippi is a massive river, okay? Like, it's huge. It's fast moving. There's a lot of pressure. Okay, nothing really goes on in the big Mississippi River. But what happens is when these little tributaries come off the Mississippi, you get smaller rivers that are slowed down, less pressure. And then those little rivers turn into little creeks, which are, less pressure and very slow moving. And then, you know what I mean? It goes from fast, lots of pressure, the aorta, down to very slow, low pressure, down to the capillaries. Now there's the aorta, and then arteries, and then arterioles, and then capillaries. And capillaries are these microscopic, arterioles. but they're just very small, can't see them with the naked eye. This is where oxygen exchange and carbon dioxide, this is where the exchange of items happens between the blood and the cells. There is no oxygen or nutrient exchange going on in the Mississippi, in these big, high pressure, high volume arteries. There's not, they're only moving from A to B. But when the blood gets down into the capillaries, it's very slow, low pressure, and right then and there we can do nutrient exchange, oxygen, carbon dioxide, whatever needs to be exchanged. Okay, so in my big toe, I just dropped off oxygen, and my big toe dropped off carbon dioxide into the blood, into the capillaries here. And now you see what's going on here is that the blood now is kind of going reverse. It's going from the capillaries. Now we're into veins, but we're going to get into bigger veins and even bigger veins until we get into the biggest vein, which is called the vena cava. Oh yeah, and that's another one. Okay, high pressure, well, higher pressure. Okay, and then the blood comes back to the heart. So this is what we call the systemic system. Okay, where the heart is pumping blood to the body. But before that, though, you'll see there that this blood enters the heart and it goes to the lungs. Okay, and yes, there's a right lung and a left lung. Okay, sorry, right lung and left lung. And here, the carbon dioxide is dropped off. The oxygen is picked up. And then, you see, it comes back to the heart and then comes up here and out the aorta and back to the body. So, this is your systemic circulatory system. Okay? This is your pulmonary. Okay? So the heart pumps blood to the lungs, pick up O2, drop off CO2, comes back to the heart, and then there's the systemic system where it goes to my big toe. All right? Two systems. Same thing. Okay? Same banana as you just saw, pulmonary and systemic. Now, let's get into the chambers. Okay. I have a really good diagram there later, which I'll show you. It's a cartoon I made up, but it works really well. Like for the time being, we're going to see things like this, which may or may not make as much sense, but let's have a look here. You've got, in the top of the heart, you've got the atriums. They're just little guys. That's all they are. There's really not much to them. They're just two little atriums. You have a right and a left atrium. And then below them, you have two ventricles. This is where the muscle is. This is where the muscle comes from. Okay? They're bigger chambers. All right? And so the blood will come in, and I'll show you how it comes in from both sides. We'll show you. Comes into the atriums, drops down to the ventricles, and then the ventricles take it out. We'll show you all this right here. So we've got a right and left atrium, a right and left ventricle, okay? We've got the vena cava, pulmonary trunk, pulmonary vein, and the aorta. Okay. Just to be clear, when I say an artery is a tube carrying blood away from the heart. I'll say that again. An artery is a tube carrying blood away from the heart. So, and 99% of all blood leaving the heart is oxygenated. We'll show you this. All right. Veins, okay, they're tubes that are carrying blood to the heart. Veins are tubes that are carrying blood to the heart. All right? And 99% of all the blood coming to the heart is deoxygenated carbon dioxide blood. We'll get in there. There are a little bit of exception. So you can have a look here. These are your atriums on top. I don't really like this slide. I got better slides. This is kind of the back side of the heart. But again, there's your apex. This is your base up here. Okay. Here is your left atrium. Here's your right atrium over here. I have better slides. Sorry, this slide is junk. And here we've got a ventricle and a ventricle here. You'll notice there that, see, there's arteries right on the blood, or right on the heart. Why am I saying blood instead of heart there today? I don't know why. But you'll see here that there's arteries and veins right on the surface of the heart, because the heart's got to have oxygen too. All right, so, but we'll get there. The atrium, very thin-walled. They kind of look like a pig's ear in a way. You know, it's kind of flopped down. And thin-walled, smaller chamber, upper portion of the heart. Collection chamber, where the blood enters the heart. Okay. Ventricle, thick, big chambers. Lower portion sends blood out. Okay. Receives blood from the atrium. We'll show you how this all works here. And this slide is not very good too, but I have better ones. But you'll see here that you see blood, deoxygenated blood, comes in. This is your vena cava. You have your superior, which is carrying blood there from the brain or from the head and upper shoulder. And then you see here you have the inferior vena cava, which is carrying blood from the big toe. And it all collects right in here. So it goes in the right atrium. And then you'll see here this little valve that kind of like a trap door. It opens and this blood falls in here. This trap door closes. And then this right ventricle gives a squeeze. And the blood goes out the pulmonary artery. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. All arteries carry oxygenated blood except for the pulmonary artery. This is the only artery in the body that carries carbon dioxide blood. Okay, and where is it going? It is going to the lungs. Would you believe it? To the lungs. All right, and you'll see there that it goes to the lungs, picks up O2, drops off CO2, okay? And then it comes in here, the pulmonary vein. Now, veins carry blood to the heart. All veins carry deoxygenated blood except for the pulmonary vein. Okay, so the oxygenated blood is coming back from the heart. It went out here, comes back in here. I have better slides. I'm just kind of throwing this at you. And then you see, same trap door. It opens, the blood falls in here, kind of literally. Trap door closes, and then the left ventricle here gives a big squeeze, and the blood goes out the aorta and to the systemic system. So that's it in a nutshell. All right, I've got better slides here. You guys will know this inside and out there in an hour. It's all good. This slide here, I just wanted to show you the difference between the muscles of the left ventricle and the right ventricle. And you think about this, let us go back to here. This is your right ventricle, this is your left. And even in a cartoon here, you can see that the left ventricle has got lots more muscle. That's because the right ventricle is only pumping this blood to the lungs. I don't need a lot of muscle to pump it, 40 centimeters, right? Or 30 centimeters. But you see there that once the blood comes back from the lungs, comes in here, now this blood here is ready to go to my big toe. This is where the muscle comes from, because the left ventricle has got to pump through the whole body. Well, not only to my big toe. And So, very good. Just know there that the left ventricle is pumping all the way to the whole body. The right ventricle is only pumping there to the lungs. That's why the left ventricle is a lot thicker. The myocardium here is a lot thicker. And that's what's going on here. It's massive. It's not even close. Okay. Veins and arteries, we just talked about that there. Okay. Arteries, blood vessels that transport blood away from the heart. Okay. They all have oxygen except for the pulmonary artery, which carries deoxygenated blood to the lungs. Veins, okay, they carry blood to the heart, and there's one that carries oxygenated. All veins carry deoxygenated, okay, and that's your pulmonary vein. And there's your aorta. It's the largest artery in the body. Massive. Supplies blood to the whole part of the body and has two parts. Okay, here is your aortic arch. And you'll see there, it bends around. Okay, and these guys here are going to the heart. And this one here is going up to the head. All right, and you'll see it swings down here to your descending aorta, which goes all the way down and starts, and the Mississippi is coming right down, okay, left side, and then the tributaries are coming off so that oxygen can get disseminated as needed, okay. Superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, okay. It's kind of the opposite of the aorta. If the aorta is the massive tube carrying oxygenated blood, the vena cava is the massive tube carrying deoxygenated blood. And you'll see the superior is coming from the head, neck, face, and arms. The inferior is coming from everywhere else. Okay? And see, there's your atrium there. Kind of looks like a pig's ear. You can kind of pick it up, flip it around, and yeah. What do we got here? Now, here's just a kind of a shot of 2 slides there that we've had, but where I really want to hit is this one here. And there's another slide, maybe about 4 or 5 slides down, that adds to this one here. Okay, so basically what we've got here, blood comes from the body, number 1, which you probably can't see because it's highlighted in white, and I don't know why, and comes into the right atrium and down to the right ventricle, and then up the pulmonary artery, okay, to the lungs. And you see here, I've kind of made it, might look chintzy, probably does, I think it does, but you'll see here that at some point in time within the lungs, the blood becomes oxygenated, okay, and then comes back in the left atrium, okay, and then the left ventricle, all right, and then out again the aorta. Want to show you here, I'll get back to that slide in a second here, but what I'm interested in here is the valves. And there's a couple of interesting things in here. Like, if you look at you see these, I don't even, stretchy fibers there that attach the opposite side of the heart to these valves. And it's kind of like a parachute opening. See, the blood comes in here. See if I can zoom out just a little bit. And you see the blood comes in here, okay, to the right atrium. And what happens is, when it's ready to go, the blood is ready to move down to the next stage, it's kind of like a trap door, okay? And you'll see here that this valve, what we call the atrioventricular, there's an easier name for it, but we'll get there. The right AV valve, it kind of opens like a trap door. And you see these chordae tendineae. That's what these guys are called. These chordae tendineae, right here. Okay? They pull and they open the trap door so that the blood that was in the atrium falls down here. Okay, this is deoxygenated blood coming in here. But did you know at the same time deoxygenated blood enters the right atrium, oxygenated blood returning from the lungs enters the left atrium. So you get this influx of blood into the left atrium and the right atrium at the same time, and then the two trap doors open and the both blood drop down into both ventricles. So you see how it works. Chum, chum, chum. And then in again, down, and up. That's what's going on here. So you have your what we call your semilunars, which we'll get into right in here. So the blood drops down, the AV node, or sorry, the AV valve opens up, blood drops down. And because the blood drops down and starts sloshing around a little bit because it's ready to go out, what happens is that movement, okay, of the blood, the heart is pushing the blood up, will close this valve. And the same on this side. So that we don't want blood going back, because that's where you get like a sloshing sound. You'll get these little sounds there, and that's where murmurs can happen. My old man there, he went in for open heart surgery, and he was I think he was home the next day. It's incredible what they can do now. And he had a leaky valve, and they just go in there, fix it all up. There you go, on your way. And because you want efficiency. Okay, so these here we have the right AV valve, and on the left side here we have the left AV, atrioventricular valve. Okay, and so the blood comes in here, drops. Blood comes in here, drops. Okay, so now this is full of blood, this is full of blood, and then at the same time, whoosh, both ventricles contract. Blood goes out here, goes to the lungs. Blood comes out here and goes to the aorta. Okay, so you have your right atrioventricular valve, your left AV valve, same bananas. Okay, and then we have what's called these semilunar valves going up. All right, and these are right in here. They connect the ventricles to the aorta, or ventricles to the pulmonary artery. Okay, I have other shots of these, but these are 4 valves you'll have to know. Here is your septum. Okay, these are what we call your papillary muscles. Okay, they're involved in holding on to the AV valve right here through the chordae tendineae. Okay, lots of good stuff there. Ask any questions if you need to. What else we got? Internal structure of the heart. Okay, here are your AV valves. Okay, we've gone through those, left AV and right AV. Okay. Another name for your right AV valve is also called your tricuspid. Means it's got 3 cusps to it. I'll show you. The left AV valve is also known as the bicuspid. Means it has 2 little valves on it. I'll show you these. Okay. Chordae tendineae and papillary muscles. The cusp of the AV valves are connected to chordae tendineae, which are connected to papillary muscles. These muscle columns located on the inner ventricles, when they contract, they cause the valves to close, preventing backflow of the blood. Okay. Now, these are our 2 semilunars. Okay, and they look like this. Okay, so here is your right AV, which is your tricuspid, 3, right? Your left AV is a bicuspid. Okay. All right, it's got the 2 pieces. Okay. And then we have your semilunars. All right. And for some reason, I guess they look like a half moon. I don't really get it. but they're called semilunars. That's it. Let me go back in here. The aortic semilunar valve, which is located between the left ventricle and the aorta, is attached to the aorta wall. The pulmonary semilunar valve is located between the right ventricle and the pulmonary arteries. Okay, so that's I've got lots of videos here. This is a slide I really want to get to. You got to know this one inside. Well, you don't have to. You just have to have it on a piece of paper right beside you while you're doing a test. All right, but this is a good one. And one of the things I want you guys to practice is picture yourself as a drop of blood. And I don't know, you're in the superior vena cava. Okay, you're on the right side, you're going back up to the heart. If you were a drop of blood, can you tell me all the steps it would take to get that drop of blood to my big finger? Okay, well, we're only talking about the heart. So the whole idea is that drop of blood is coming up through the vena cava, okay, and it comes in to number 2, which is the right atrium, and then it goes through number 3, which is your tricuspid, your right AV valve, right? And now it's into the right ventricle, and then it goes up through the pulmonary semilunar valve, and then it's out into the pulmonary vein where it picks up oxygen, comes back in. Okay, pulmonary vein. And then it comes into the left atrium through the bicuspid valve or the left AV valve down to the left ventricle, out the aortic semilunar, and out the aorta, which then eventually comes all the way back to the vena cava again after it goes to my big toe. This is a good one. Oh yeah, there we go. Perfect. There we go. So this is a good one to know. Know it. All right. Internal structures of the heart. Yeah, we've got the valves. Heart murmur. If the valves don't close fully, blood can leak, they can slosh around, that kind of thing. And like the heart sound, which we'll get into, lub-dub, okay, is caused by the closing of the valves. They're the ones making the sound, okay? And the first heart sound is from the closing of the AV valves, okay? Blood comes in, all right? Drops. And then out. Drops, out. Drops, out. This is where we're getting here. Let's have a look. I'll just show you this one right here. This is a kind of a neat little video. Then again. And you see, here we have the vena cava. Okay, and this is deoxygenated blood coming in. Over on this side here, we have the pulmonary vein. Okay, this is oxygenated blood coming back from the lungs. And they both come in at the same time, eh? And then you see the AV valves are open. It's kind of like the floor drops, right? And the blood flows in. And it's kind of like that suction, right? When the floor, it's kind of like a negative pressure. The floor opens. And the blood just flows in, right? And then it comes in here, collects in here, and in this process, okay, these AV valves, or the semilunars there, they close. And then you see now, both of the semilunars open up. And then you'll see there that both atriums contract at the same time, pushing the blood down. Both ventricles contract at the same time, pushing the blood out. Okay. Cardiac cycle. Okay. Is all the events involved with the blood flow through the heart during one beat. So let's just go through this there, step by step. The atria, both of them contract. The AV valves open and blood moves into the ventricles, called atrial systole. AV valves close, atria relax, and blood flows into both atria. This is called atria distale. At the same time, when the atria relax, the ventricles are contracted. Sorry, this is I'm going to change this. Flows into both ventricles. See what I mean? These are made by, yeah. Anyway, so what happens there? The systole is contract. Diastole, relax. So at the same time, when the atria relax, the ventricle contract. There is this opposite thing going on here. When the atria are contracting, the ventricles are relaxing. And the blood goes down, and then the atria relax, and the ventricles contract. We'll get more into this here. We just saw that one. Blood supply there to the myocardium. You will see there that I think it's the first two. What's the word I'm looking for? Openings off the aorta go right to the heart. Like the heart, without the heart, nothing's going on. So the heart better get the first hit of oxygen. All right, and it does. So the blood that constantly flows through the heart does not nourish the myocardium. The myocardium is nourished by blood supply in the left and right coronary artery and is drained by the coronary vein. So the blood that's in the heart is just moving around. The heart's not utilizing any of that blood going through its ventricles and all that. You'll see there that the right off the aorta, that's where the heart gets its blood, or gets its blood and gets its oxygen, okay? The left coronary artery has two main branches, okay? I'm not really interested in I'm not interested in the names of arteries other than the ones there that I've talked about there today, okay? We're not going into anything too crazy. But I do like the right coronary artery. I do like the left coronary artery. Okay. Here are your the great veins coming off here. You got the great cardiac vein. Okay. And these guys here are bringing blood right back. It's a very quick journey for this blood here. Comes right off it just went all the way through the heart, comes off the aorta, feeds the heart, and then goes choop, right back into the vena cava again. So it's a very, very short trip for blood feeding the heart. Okay. Characteristics of coronary blood flow. Flow can increase up to 4 to 5 times during exertion. Flow is greatest during myocardial relaxation. Sure, when the heart is relaxing, it's getting oxygen. Sure, right? Normally, coronary blood flow can increase with exercise. Okay, occluded vessels are already maximally dilated, so the person will feel immediate discomfort on exertion. This is the whole thing, like a heart attack, myocardial infarction. Okay, this is where these tubes carrying blood, if there's too much animal fat or cholesterol in these tubes, it will start to accumulate because of gravity. Gravity moves everything down. And then some pieces of fat start to, you get one piece of fat in the bottom of an artery there in the heart. It will attract other pieces, and then all of a sudden now your artery feeding your heart, your coronary artery now only has this much space in it to get blood through. And if that closes there, now all the cells on the other side of this blockage don't get any oxygen. So there's your heart attack right there, infarction, cell death. This is a slide here that basically gives, the whole thing, if I was a drop of blood and I was going to my big toe. You could choose a spot here, okay? Let's choose a spot here. Blood is returning from the vena cava. This is returning there from the heart. And right atrium through your tricuspid, right ventricle takes you all the way through. The interesting here, which we'll get into that more when we get into the lungs themselves. Now you remember, where does oxygen and nutrient exchange happen? The arteries or the capillaries? Capillaries, right. So when the blood is leaving, okay, your pulmonary artery, okay, and it's going to the lungs, okay, deoxygenated, doesn't have very far to travel. But your pulmonary artery, the blood coming in your heart, man, is massive. And no nutrient exchange can happen in the Mississippi. It's got to be, only nutrient exchange happens in the small creeks, the capillaries. So this blood leaving your right ventricle, going out the pulmonary artery to the lungs, it's fast moving. You saw the video there, that blood coming right out of the heart and going to the lungs. It's got to slow down. Like it's going 120 kilometers an hour and it slows right down to crawling distance because the capillaries that are surrounding the alveoli of the lungs here, that's the only place where oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange can happen, is in the capillaries. So it leaves the blood leaves the heart, goes to the capillaries of the lungs, where it's slow moving, low pressure, oxygen can jump on, CO2 can jump off, and then it comes back into the left atrium, okay, bicuspid. That's also your left AV valve, left ventricle, out the aorta, semilunar. And this is the steps here that it takes for the heart. Right or left coronary artery, down to the capillaries that feed the myocardium. And then drops off the oxygen, picks up the CO2, cardiac veins, coronary sinus, and there to your coronary sinus, comes right off of the vena cava. So you guys can have a look at this. It's a really good slide if you guys can follow it. Okay. If it's going to the body. Oh, hello.
It's not necessary. Is it a cycle necessarily? Because this doesn't look like a cycle necessarily.
Ah, it is.
Into each other.
Yeah. This one here. This
it starts at the green arrow. I'm correct.
Yeah. Here's 2 cycles in one. This is what. Right from here, this is deoxygenated blood entering the heart. Right here, right at this point. So here it's coming.
At both points.
Yeah. This one here is coming from the heart, deoxygenated, going back to the right atrium. This one here is coming from the body. So it's all deoxygenated blood. This is the process of it getting oxygen, going to the lungs, and then coming back, and then the left atrium, left ventricle, and then out the aorta. Right here is out the aorta. And then this direction here, it's going to the heart. This direction here, it's going to the body. And you'll see.
Okay.
Is that okay? Good question. Talk to me.
That makes it a bit clearer.
All right.
I didn't know if it was one cycle or, but now you cleared it up.
Yeah.
That interlink.
This one here is for the heart. So basically, it is like these slides here, right? And then this one here, that's for what's going on in the body. So it comes out the aorta, and let's say it's going to my big toe. So the aorta is massive. And then it travels down my descending aorta towards my big toe, and it gets into arteries, which are slower, but still pretty fast and high pressure. So there's no nutrient exchange going on here. Then we get into the arterioles, right? We're slowing things down, all right? Because there's no nutrient exchange going on in here. But then finally here, when this blood hits the capillaries, slows right down to a trickle, low pressure. This is where the nutrient exchange happens. We can pick up what we need, we can drop off, and then we're on our way back. Okay? So this is what's going on in the body. This is what's going on in the heart. Same thing, but I like to know things that are going on in the heart. So that's these 2 slides here. Okay? Ischemia and infarction. Ischemia. Diminished blood flow and oxygen deprivation. Angina. That's chest pain. It can be an indicator of heart attack. All right. There are a couple indicators there. Your pain in your jaw, tingling in your jaw. I've never had a heart attack, so I can't know from experience, just from what I've read. Tingling in the lower left arm, or the left arm, the left foot, these kinds of things here, okay? Myocardial infarction, there's your heart attack. Diagnostic tests, I'm not interested in any of these, so you don't need to know these, okay? That's not where you guys are going. But these ones here, love them. Cardiac enzymes and leaky cells. If dead myocardial cells. Now, that should make sense to you now. To some capacity. Myocardial cells. Ding, 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 ding. We're talking the meat muscle of the heart, the myocardium. This is the muscle of the heart. Okay? So if dead myocardial cells leak enzymes into blood, plasma elevation of cardiac enzymes, I'm not too worried about these kinds here. Yeah, this one here, I'm not really interested in plasma elevation of cardiac enzymes. I'm not interested. What I'm interested in is the good stuff here, like this one, all the different parts of the heart. What else we got here? This one here is super cool. Just the whole idea there that we are electrically conducive saltwater bags. Sorry, that's what we are. And you'll see there that electricity, we use it all the time. We're using it right now. Your heart is using it right here. And we're going to show you, there's a couple parts of the heart here that will show you the SA node, the AV node, bundle of His, and Purkinje fibers. These are, I'll show you a little diagram. I have some videos and all this, so we'll show you all these right here. Okay, and I'll just show you the video. The SA node is up here in the right atrium. And this is where the electrical impulse for every single heartbeat begins. And you'll see here. Okay. And this is how the heartbeat works. It starts up here, travels down the septum, we call our Purkinje fibers, and then comes back up again on both sides, and that is your contraction there for your ventricles. Watch it again. Or maybe not. Okay, so the SA node we also call the pacemaker. Okay, the SA node contains specialized cells which can spontaneously depolarize. Love that word, causing an action potential. Depolarize means to set off a charge. Let's get it going. So depolarization, which causes an action potential. You've heard that word before, back in muscles, right? When the nerve fiber comes along, okay, into the muscle nerve junction there, okay, the nerve comes down and the calcium is released. The muscle picks it up and starts the electrical impulse on the muscle side, right? It's the same thing. The SA node, these cells there are never at a resting potential. So they're never relaxed. Well, better not be. It's a heart. And they're constantly being polarized, which makes them act as the pacemaker. And if there's ever an issue with the SA node, what they'll do is people. It's very common there today is that we can get a pacemaker installed. All right, which just keeps the heart in track. Since all the heart cells are interconnected via gap junctions, that action potential will spread throughout the heart, causing the entire heart to contract. So, here's another slide. It's kind of a better slide there. And you'll see there that there's your SA node, and it's actually called your sinoatrial node. Okay, generates the impulse. Okay, the impulse it goes over to the AV node. Okay. All right, now The AV bundle there connects the atria to the ventricles, and you'll see it comes all the way down right in here. The bundle branches there, they connect the impulses, okay, through the septum, and then the Purkinje fibers, they carry it all the way up so you get a full contraction. All right. So here's another one here. I'm sure you guys have, I don't know if anyone's ever had an ECG, okay? Ever had your heart looked at? Mine had one done there last year. The ticker's in good shape. So, and you see what's going on here. We're going to go into this, and you're going to be able to identify this. It's called your PQRS-T wave. And we'll break this down a little bit here. So there's your SA node, starts, and you'll see what shows up on, you've seen these screens there, bloop, bloop, bloop. You see them on TV all the time, right? And then you'll see there that the charge is coming down. Now it's got over to the left side, all right? And then once the charge comes down the septum and starts to come around the ventricles, you'll see the size of this pulse. Because the ventricles are massive, man, compared to the atriums, right? Not even close. And I got 2 of them firing. All right? And then you'll see here, we'll get into, so here we have atrial excitation, and then we have ventricle excitation. But at the same time, we're also having atrial relaxation. All right? And then at the very end there, we have ventricle relaxation. We'll get into more of this. So the ECG, the electrocardiogram, records the electrical changes occurring in the myocardium during a cardiac cycle. I like that word, cardiac cycle. Creates an electrocardiograph. Determines normal conduction pathways if the heart is enlarged, regional damage. Like even if you have problems there with the your valves, leaky valves, bad valves, it'll show up on here. It'll. I don't have the slides here, but you see this right here. It's a beautiful what we'll call PQRS T wave. Beautiful. That's a good looking heart, I tell you. But any type of deviations, if this one here gets bigger or this one here is smaller in comparison, then we know that there's something wrong. Okay. I love these words there. Depolarization. Loss of charge. Precedes contraction. Repolarization. Recover charge. Relaxation. Okay. Good. PQRS-T waves. The P wave, I'll just kind of flip back and forth here. Your P wave, that's your first little one. Small upward wave represents atrial depolarization. So, right there. There's your atrial depolarization. Okay, right there, that little one. The QRS complex begins as a downward deflection, then to large upright triangular wave, ends as a downward wave, represents onset of ventricular depolarization or contraction. So you see right here, there's that little downward, okay, and then wham, okay, that's your atrial, or that's your ventricle, okay, contraction. But within there, it's hidden, it's covered up. The atrial relaxation, what's going on in the atriums is actually covered up by this because the ventricle contraction is such a massive beast. Okay. Where are we here? And the T wave, this is kind of a dome-shaped upward deflection, and what this means is the ventricles are relaxing. Okay, that's your T wave. That's right here. Okay, right here. These are the ventricles recharging, repolarizing. Okay, so the first one here, your P, this is atrial depolarization, contraction. Okay, Here we PQRS is your ventricle depolarization or contraction, but underneath it is your atrial relaxation. It's charging up again. And then lastly, your T is your ventricular relaxation. It's charging up, repolarizing. Okay. And here's just another shot of it there. Bang, 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 bang. You guys can have a look at that. Okay. Breaks it all down. Nice little cartoon. I like things like this. Like, sometimes it's really good to look at the actual heart, you know, and what's going on. But sometimes it's just as good just to look at a caricature. And so have a look at that one there. We're almost done for this part of the for this portion of the test, or test of the. I'm losing my mind. I really am, but it's a fun ride. Automaticity and rhythmicity. Okay, there has to be a rhythm. There has to be a pace. It has to be a continued set of parameters that's going on here, because this is the heart. And when you get into something that's not rhythmic, okay, you get into dysrhythmia, okay, where the heart it's not continuous. Because cardiac tissue fires cardiac impulses regularly, the heart is said to have rhythmicity. Some dysrhythmias are relatively harmless, others are life-threatening. Okay? So, you have a tachycardia, these kinds of things here. Have a look at those there. And just the last slide, I just wanted you guys to remember the heart is only basically responsible for getting the blood to your big toe. And yeah, okay, the heart does help a bit in assisting the blood to get back from your big toe back up to your heart, but the big banana is what we call the skeletal pump. You've got to be moving, running, jumping, or well, not jumping around, but walking around. You've got to be moving, because if you're not moving, that blood will stay down in your feet. We need to get that blood moving and up, and the only way to do that is by moving. So that is that PowerPoint. What time is it now? What do we got here? Why can't I see my... Oh, that's why. Okay, so it's 1:07. Why don't we give it to... let's give it to 1:15. We'll see you guys in 5-10 minutes or so, and we'll start it up again, and we'll start up chapter 17. If that works for you, we'll see you guys back in 10. Thanks, guys. Thank you guys for coming. We'll see you in 10.